Hey, good morning. We're talking about the new and improved Frederick Douglass Center with our guest this morning. It's President Carl Parker, Vice President Jan Scotland, and Board Member Judge Myron Duhart. We've talked about some of the really interesting things that you all will be bringing to the community through the Frederick Douglass Center, and you wanted to talk about the Entrepreneurship Academy.
Yes, I do, because I'm really excited about that.
What does that mean?
It's all about driving or transitioning or transforming tax consumers into tax producers. It's about education, economics, and empowerment. The Academy is all about teaching high school students who will be the next wave of entrepreneurs how to run businesses. But more importantly, it's about bringing in a long-lost program back to the Central City. JA has not had a program in the Central City in quite a long time.
JA, Junior Achievement.
Junior Achievement, forgive me, yes. But now they're partnering with the Frederick Douglass Center, along with the University of Toledo, Access Toledo, the Minority Business Development Center, the African American Chamber, and the Hispanic Chamber.
All of those organizations designed to help and to encourage small businesses to develop.
Well, high school students to become entrepreneurs in the future.
Right, okay.
Okay, that's what's exciting to me. Exciting to me.
And, you know, the thing about what we're doing now, it's about access to that center. That's a beautiful facility. It's been there for years. And people have felt that they can't come in the doors. And maybe to some extent they might not have been able to come in the doors. What's happening right now is that we are open to people coming to the center, talking about things they'd like to do there, talking about programs they'd like to see. Some of them want to start their own programs. And we're starting to fill the building up with folks that want to do things positive for the community. And it hasn't been like that for a long time.
Yeah,
So
you've got great folks coming into that building.
Right.
You really do. Lots of good programs.
And you know, we're hoping to get some senior stuff going in there. We know we have some nutrition things that we're trying to do there. I mean, it's going to be...
Is Ward Woodbury's program in there for art?
Ward Woodbury's He's doing a fantastic job. So just layers and layers of opportunities to use that center for the community to come out and use that center. The community come out and ask about things that they want to do in the community. It's really going to be a fantastic type program.
I want to ask you guys this. You know, there's lots of talk about energy and the greening of America and sustainability relative to that particular issue. And I think that people of color, both black and Hispanics, tend to believe that there's really no place for them in that discussion. But you guys are saying that's not true. You're saying that's not true?
It's definitely not true.
Really?
It's definitely not true. You know, it's about bridging that divide. We talked about it before, the technology and green divide.
And you're doing that through your sustainability and renewable energy center.
On May 23rd, we're launching the Solar Academy. On May 22nd, along with some partners in the community, both of these are in partnership with communities, we're launching the Urban Garden Initiative as well. We're going to teach our individuals and our community people that they can understand and participate in that green economy, because there's money to be made, there's careers to be had, and we all should participate. And
not only that, it's not a matter of can they be part of it. They have to be, because that's the wave of the future. So there's no issue of sitting around and saying, well, let us pass us by, because you can't do that. So this is something that's important and needs to be introduced and then sustained as it starts growing in the overall community, and it will.
Yeah. And think about
Well, Donnie, to go back to earlier when you indicated and asked the question whether or not what's different, I think you're hearing a lot of what's different. Things like nanotechnology, gardening, urban gardening, solar energy, those kind of things, you can't find that anywhere else in that community.
You really cannot. That's why it's so exciting.
That's what's different. You know, I want the community to understand that we are endeavoring, those on the board as well as under Carl's leadership, we're taking everything that was previously in existence and we are thinking it through, reworking it, changing it, and adding to it. And so I think that there's a lot of excitement that's going on. There's a lot of things we have to offer.
You know, one of the things I love about this approach, and one of the reasons I wanted you guys to come on, is that when we generally talk about empowering programs for this particular population, there's an awful lot of talk and not an awful lot of action behind it, you know. Execution, absolutely. We talk about what we need, what you should do, why it isn't happening, how folks don't like us and whatever, but this gives us an opportunity. It's true. Come on, it's true. It's true. This gives us an opportunity to say, look, we are capable of implementing programs that make change, and that we are very comfortable holding ourselves accountable for. And I love that. That's right. I love that.
We're going to execute.
I love that. I love that.
And on top of all those things, we are going to make sure that this center is a safe haven for kids to come to and everybody else to come to. And that's a very important thing.
You know, I'm really
in our
glad you
community.
said that. Yeah, because I think people, you know, get that violence piece stuck in their head, and they begin to think that it's not a very safe place to be. But in fact,
let me say something. We had an Easter egg hunt. We had a prom dress drive. We had a album release party. And just last weekend, we had a fashion talent show with over 250 people there. Not one incident. None. Zero. Because people understand how we're renewing the relevancy, and it needs to be a safe haven.
Right.
Resourcing, occupying, and protecting. That's what this strategy is all about.
Right, and I don't want to, I'll say this, Judge, and certainly disagree with me, but while there is a pretty steady stream of violence in some of the neighborhoods, and we certainly would like to see it be different, it's not as though it's the wild, wild west over there. People are not running around just shooting people at random. Generally, it's violence that's pretty explainable if you understand the circumstances. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. And one of the things that we hope is that the community, and that means at every level in the community, whether it's the perpetrators of those who may be committing crimes, to understand that the Frederick Douglass Center is sacred ground.
Absolutely.
And I think if you see that, they are less inclined to target the community center because they know how important it is to our community, and that's just not a place you need to do those kind of things.
Absolutely.
In many of our programs, we're going to partner with community agency anyway. Anita Madison, who's launched her program for violence reduction.
She's a police officer.
She's a police officer. She's on board, and their group is on board. Other agencies around, we're collaborating closely with them, not only for a safe haven, but to offer real relevant programming. So we understand we need that safety piece to ensure our programs are successful.
But it just sounds like that you are covering all of your bases in terms of the safety piece. It is a safe place to be. And we really want to make sure that people get that message. It's a safe place to be. Don't let any concerns about your safety keep you away. Go ahead, Jan, I'm sorry.
We have to be diligent about it, because you know, as our programs grow, as the numbers start flowing and everything else, then security is an issue. So our intent is to make sure as we bring these new things in, that we also are cognizant of what's required to keep it a safe haven.
Sure.
And that's our intent. I know that's perfect, but our intent is to make sure that it stays safe.
Okay, I can't let you guys go without somebody explaining this whole concept of nanotechnology to me. Everybody points to go, okay, well, I hope you know what you're talking about.
Well, in an effort not to really show all of my geekness.
Okay, just a little.
But, you know, nanotechnology, nano is a billionth of a meter, so that's one issue. But nanotechnology is all about creating the future.
Wait, let's go back to that. It's a billionth of a meter?
A meter, that's what
okay, so you'll tell me what that means.
Yeah, offline.
Later.
But later offline.
Okay.
But more importantly, nanotechnology is about creating a future. If you're old enough to know the Jetsons, anyone here know the Jetsons? It's about creating tomorrow's future.
I don't remember the Jetsons.
The Jetsons.
Who remembers the Jetsons? Is that George and the
George,
dog?
But it's about making your iPad better. It's about making your iPhone better. It's about communication moving at the speed of light. Our children, our community need to understand the future. That's what it's all about. I could go into detailed discussions about nanoscience, those kind of things, but I want the audience to stay on board. But it's about making your technology better. It's about communicating in Asia, Brazil, today, real time. It's about having a camera on your phone. It's about ensuring that all of our lives are much better.
So the kids will learn how to become engaged in this?
They'll learn over a 10-week period starting June 16th
to
learn more about it.
This is
We're partnering with a group called Power Base International in Detroit, Dr. Robinson and his team.
Yeah.
They're bringing laptops, technology. We're going to take only 10 people the first series, and then in the fall we'll expand it. Yes.
That's terrific technology.
And we are getting a lot of support from a lot of different people, and that's because the demographics of that center are such that folks have been wanting to reach out and contact the folks in our community for a long time. And so we're just allowing them to do that, and they're coming in droves. It's really been very positive.
I would be remiss if I don't mention one of our strategic partners, which is United Way. The United Way is funding, they're working, they'll be there in the end of May to discuss maybe increasing their funding and other activities. So I'm excited about not only mention them, but other partners as well.
Oh, that's really, you know, one other thing too we haven't talked about is your STEM Academy. We've got just a few minutes left. I don't want to leave without you guys understanding or hearing more about the STEM Academy. Absolutely critical.
Yeah, it's very critical. In order to learn about or engage in nanotechnology and also to have careers that are making a lot of money in the future, you need to understand the fundamentals about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. You know, I love artists, I love broadcast journalists, I do, but at the end of the day, we need to ensure, like President Obama says, and others, to be competitive globally, we need to be strong in math and science. And that is important to our community.
Is this a tutoring program? Is it a tutoring program?
It's kind of a tutoring program on steroids, because we have that available at some of our local schools, but we need places like the Frederick Douglass Center to offer it, to augment and complement those programs.
Yeah, and all of this is important. Judge, I'm sure you would agree, in order to keep that traffic down in your court.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to demean the fact that we've got programming and sports and those guys. Those are the things that draw the kids in. And when you have them there, then you expose them to things like nanotechnology and some of these other things. And so I like the fact that we are using that synergistic opportunity to bring them in, to entice them using recreation, and then once we got them there, do something positive with them.
You know, have a place where it's okay to be smart and involved and engaged and want to do something with your life. You know, have a place that encourages that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Investing in our youth, and that is something that we don't do enough of. And then we wonder why they end up the way they are. But that is the key to turning around a whole community, and that is to get them as young as you can, train them in the right way, bring them up, introduce them and expose them to a variety of things. Arts and all the other things are great, but then get them into the technologies as well. And the results, when you do it that way, are tremendous. Over a 10-year period, you'll see a fantastic difference in that community just because we started.
You guys ought to be really proud of what you're doing. This is a major, major task you're undertaking, and great efforts toward making change. We got to let that be the last word. Got to scoot away for just a second, but we'll be right back.